On a cool, windy afternoon in Oxford, England, a group of runners gathered at Iffley Road track. It was May 6, 1954, and among them was a medical student named Roger Bannister, a man with a quiet yet burning ambition. Bannister had been training tirelessly for months with one goal in mind: to break the seemingly impossible barrier of running a mile in under 4 minutes. For years, the 4-minute mile had been a mental wall in the world of athletics. Scientists and experts insisted that it was beyond human capacity.
The human body simply isn't built to run a mile that fast,
they said. Records had come close, but no one had broken through. The world seemed to believe that the barrier was as much mental as it was physical. Bannister, however, wasn't convinced. He believed that the limit wasn't real, it was an illusion created by doubt. But doubt crept into his own mind too. He was not a full-time athlete. He had medical studies, little funding, and only trained for an hour a day. Nevertheless, he pushed himself, running not just with his legs but with his heart and mind, convinced that belief could shatter boundaries. As Bannister prepared for the race that day, the wind blew across the track. The conditions weren't ideal, and there was talk of postponing the attempt. But Roger was resolute.
If I don't try today, when will I ever? There's always something that can go wrong,
he thought to himself. His heart pounded with the weight of history, but he steeled his nerves. The starting gun cracked through the air, and the runners took off. Bannister stayed calm, running with precise control. The first lap was fast but within reach, 59 seconds. The second lap, a little slower, but still on track. His pacers were doing their job, pushing him forward, and the crowd began to sense something special was happening. By the third lap, the fatigue started to set in. Bannister's lungs burned, his legs ached, and doubt hovered, whispering in his ear.
You've reached your limit.
But Bannister had trained his mind to ignore the pain and press forward. His belief surged stronger than the doubt. He thought of all the times he had visualized this moment in his mind, and he knew that breaking the barrier was about more than physical strength, it was about mental fortitude. The bell rang for the final lap. Bannister was behind his pace slightly, but he surged forward. His legs were heavy, his vision blurred, but he didn't let up. His pacer dropped away, and Bannister was alone now, running for history. The crowd roared, but all he could hear was the pounding of his heart and the sound of his own breathing. As he approached the final stretch, Bannister gave everything he had left. His head tilted back in exhaustion, his arms pumped fiercely, and his legs seemed to move faster than ever. With one final push, he crossed the finish line. The crowd went silent as the announcer paused, watching the clock. Then the voice came over the speakers.
3 minutes. 59 seconds. .4.
The stadium erupted in cheers. Roger Bannister had done it. He had broken the 4-minute mile, something that had been deemed impossible by so many for so long. He collapsed into the arms of his supporters, gasping for air but smiling in triumph. He had proven that the limits we set for ourselves are often illusions, mental barriers that can be broken with determination and belief. In the weeks that followed, something remarkable happened. Other runners began breaking the 4-minute mile as well. The barrier that had seemed insurmountable for decades was now falling one by one. What had changed? Not their physical ability, but their belief. Bannister had shown the world that the impossible was possible. Moral of the story: mental barriers are often self-imposed limits. With determination, belief, and persistence, we can break through those walls and achieve what others, and even we ourselves, believe to be impossible.